What's up, y'all? This is Relly, all back on another video. Yes, and today we'll be talking about a trade the Atlanta Hawks need to do this offseason in order to make their team a playoff contender for the 2020-2021 NBA playoffs. Now, this trade, you have to be completely open-minded. You say why? Because this trade has something to do with players that they just recently got, alongside with some young guys. But they will be acquiring a star. Now, a lot of people might question this player I'm about to name because of his reputation, which is fair to say, but I believe with the pieces that Atlanta Hawks has acquired with Clint Capella, and obviously with them having Trae Young and John Collins, I believe that they can make this work. Now, let's get straight into this. I believe the Atlanta Hawks should try to call the San Antonio Spurs and try to get Demar Derozan. Now, you say, what would it take for them to get Demar Derozan? They would have to trade Dwayne Dedmon, DeAndre Hunter, and Cam Reddish. You say, why is this a good trade for the Atlanta Hawks? Because DeMar DeRozan gives them a player that can play D, as well as giving them a new direction with a player that can slash. You say, why would slashing be something good for their system? Because Atlanta Hawks technically have shooters. They have a lot of shooters, but they don't really, outside of probably Clint Capella, he's probably the only one that's paint dominant. And I think having DeMar DeRozan on the floor while having Trae Young and John Collins on the floor, I think he gives them a new dimension because he can play defense as well as drive and attack the basket at a very proficient rate. Now, we must talk about the elephant that's in the room. Obviously, everybody understands that DeMar DeRozan has a perception that any team that he's landed on, when it comes to winning, he's not been a huge contributor to wins when it matters, right? When you talk about Toronto, yes, he was grinding for them for so many years, and I can't take that away from him. But when it came down to when it mattered, he was another player. Let's be real. You traded DeMar DeRozan, you won a championship. Yes, it was Kawhi, but I mean, let's be real. You basically made three moves. The coach, Valanciunas, and DeMar, and they won a championship with the exact same team. They beat teams like the Sixers and Milwaukee, who was the juggernauts in the East. And they did it pretty confidently, especially Milwaukee, not so Philadelphia, but they did it in a way that was a lot more respectable than when they had DeMar. Then you look at when DeMar gets to San Antonio, they get to the playoffs and they struggle. They have the same problems DeMar DeRozan has been having in Toronto. Sadly, that perception of DeMar DeRozan when it comes to winning has gotten bigger and bigger. Even now, yes, you say, he's just in a terrible situation with San Antonio. And I would say I don't really agree with that because it's San Antonio. Greg Popovich always puts you in a culture to win. And then you have to kind of look at the stars more so. And you have to say it's DeMar DeRozan's fault because this is probably going to be the first time we not going to see San Antonio in the Western playoffs. And DeMar DeRozan is the leader of that franchise. He's the leader of that team. So we have to put the blame on him. It's not Popovich's fault. Popovich, his system has shown that it's worked. He's shown that when a team is losing, it's not because of him. It's because of the players. So, with that being said, I have to talk about why Atlanta Hawks giving up these three players. Why wouldn't this be acceptable? Would this be fair? Because I know a lot of people are going to roast me saying, oh, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. And, it is what it is. But I would say when it comes to Atlanta Hawks giving up Dwayne Dedmon, DeAndre Hunter, and Cam Reddish, I like Dwayne Dedmon, but I feel like they can get a center that does what he does, but for cheaper, right? For him getting $13 million, this is the reason why Atlanta let him walk in the first place, because they realized they could get better. It was just when they was going to get him, right? And who could they attract at that time? If they get DeMar DeRozan, I think it's going to be 1,000,001 centers that's ready to play for Atlanta. You know why? Because they're going to have a system that is so ready for that team. Because think about it. You have a team of DeMar, Trae Young, John Collins, Clint Capella in the East. All right? Now you think about DeAndre Hunter. You say, why do we give up DeAndre Hunter? Because you have to. You have to give him something worthy in that package because he's probably the headliner in that trade. Let's be real. DeAndre Hunter is a good player. I like him. Everybody in Atlanta probably loves DeAndre Hunter. I don't want to say that as a fact because, once again, I would have all of Atlanta roasting me saying, oh, shoot, you don't know what you're talking about. But I'm going to keep it back on track. You know, DeAndre Hunter would for sure be the headliner. He would be something the San Antonios would feel like they could build around. He's a small forward. They've done right when it comes with small forwards. They've done right when it comes to players that want to be hungry. And they've done right with players that just, his play style is just proficient. He's young enough where he's able to learn. And he's just young enough where he's going to have to buy in with Greg Popovich. And that's a great player to have. Cam Reddish, I feel like he would be the biggest project, especially since in the beginning of the season, a lot of people didn't like him. Respectfully so, but I just feel like Cam Reddish has a huge upside waiting to happen. It's just he needs the right culture, the right coach, and the right staff behind him to allow him to grow. What better staff than there is than the San Antonio Spurs to get him where he needs to be? So basically what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to milk out of this situation, is that Atlanta Hawks need another star. They need another player that has such a different identity when it comes to offense and defense than Trae Young, and Demar Derozan is the perfect candidate. He is the perfect trade asset, and he's the most realistic trade asset because San Antonio is about to be in a position where they're going to sell, right? This offseason is going to be a sell year for San Antonio because this team right here in San Antonio is not the team they need to win, right? This is not a winning culture. They have not proven to win, right? So, with that being said, Atlanta Hawks wants to win. They're hungry. You can just tell by the small moves they make. They're ready to win now. And what better player to use to help them win now than DeMar DeRozan? That team would be Clint Capella, Trae Young, John Collins, DeMar DeRozan. You got Red Hot. You have a team of... Man, that team right there, those 5 players alone will get you in the playoffs. And yes, you got to still make some small moves and free agency. But when you have that much talent already secured, it's not going to be that hard. Especially when you're in the East too. You're in a nice city like Atlanta. It's warm. It's something. It's a place literally you would want to be at, you know? So you got talent, you got the location, and you have an organization that's ready to win. That is a match made in heaven. So, with that being said, if you like today's video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. And do not forget to hit the notification bell for more amazing content because we are on the grind. We are on the official grind. So, with that being said, ghosts.